I made the biggest mistake you could possibly make when interviewing a WWE superstar.
Bray Wyatt. How are you feeling going into this Sunday's match against Randy Orton?
As a lifelong fan of WWE, there are 2 times a year where Christmas comes early. April at WrestleMania and August for SummerSlam. And this time last week, I was just wrapping up my trip in New York for SummerSlam 2017. On the Friday night before SummerSlam weekend started, there was the big press event in Manhattan for the WWE 2K18 press launch. Now, let me tell you, when you see me do interviews with some of the big names in the business, I might look all calm and collected, but that is far from the truth. I am like this before we go on. I'm like, right, who's on the red carpet? Who are we gonna get first? What questions are we gonna ask? Like, there's so much going through my head. I'm talking to my producer who's filming, like, what storyline's he in at the moment? Like, and sometimes I do mess up. These are some of the bits that you may not have seen when I was on the red carpet. And also, I want to talk you through what was going through my head when I was interviewing guys like Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. I fanboyed a little bit too hard over Seth Rollins, and maybe looked into the eyes of Alexa Bliss a little bit too passionately. But we'll get to that in a second. First off, I want to start with a guy that I've interviewed multiple times, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one.
AJ Styles, how's it going?
Good, bro.
We're back here at SummerSlam weekend.
Now, these guys are on the road almost 365 days a year. They get interviewed by people everywhere they go. And I always think, I wonder if that guy's going to remember me. No, chaps, why would he? He's speaking to about 100 people in one night, and he's only met me twice. But it still goes through my mind anyway. I always say, nice to see you. And they just go, yeah, you too.
Last time I spoke to you, you weren't so keen on your 2K17 game rating.
Yeah, do you remember what it was last year? Because I don't.
I want to say it was in the mid-80s.
Mid-80s, that's terrible.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was totally making that up. You can tell. If I look away and I just go, that's me not knowing what I'm talking about.
Sheamus and Cesaro.
See where I turned round there? I'm not sure if I'm in shock. There were so many people on the red carpet that night, but I'm a bit of an egomaniac and I like being in every single shot. I mean, just look at that Sheamus and Cesaro interview where the German commentator, aka German...
Big Cass right there.
Look at this.
Big Cass is here today.
And he's 7 foot
Big
tall.
Cass.
His ponytail was in like half of the shots. It was the most annoying thing. I kept like having to nudge him in the back, like, I'm doing an interview, move out of the way.
And you can teach that.
And if you think those guys would be hard to talk to, you've no idea what it's like to try and conduct an interview with the New Day.
That's a good...
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
I just got off a flight.
That's okay. That's how you get loose. That's the best way to loosen up. We stay fly. I stay fly.
Can I just say, I wasn't trying to be the third member of the New Day and totally outshadow Xavier Woods. There's just not enough room on that red carpet. It's a nightmare.
Management, they acting up, putting us on the kickoff.
And when I'm on the stick interviewing guys like this, when they start talking in a little bit of that grey area where you're not sure, is like, is this real? Are they really annoyed about not being on the kickoff show? That is just gold. I absolutely love that because that's them being themselves. That's saying what they want to get across. And that's probably why they love doing these interviews so much, because they can talk to the fans and, say what's really going on in their head without the big corporate bosses, having to watch over them live on TV.
They messed up.
And they ought to be annoyed about being on that kickoff show, especially when you've got matches like Big Cass versus Big Show with Enzo trying to slide himself out of a shark cage.
And you can teach that.
I made the biggest mistake you could possibly make when interviewing a WWE superstar.
Bray Wyatt. How are you feeling going into this Sunday's match against Randy Orton?
I'm not taking on Randy Orton.
The only thing I can think of is all those times he kept saying, Randy, in the WrestleMania build-up for the match against Orton for the WWE Championship. But still, that is no excuse. I went bright red as soon as I said it. Luckily, I managed to kind of like work around it straight away. I just started the interview again.
I'm at the wrong pay-per-view.
Seems like there's something you want to ask me.
WWE 2K18 game launch this weekend.
And I kind of spliced it together with a bit from the beginning of the interview before we started, where he started laughing.
You've been so busy.
Yeah, just kind of bouncing. I like that to see it.
Yeah, same. WWE 2K18 game launch this weekend, going in against your match against the Demon, Finn Balor.
Right,
no, it's the guy that you faced before, but...
So it kind of worked well.
Oh, Randy.
Next up, something I really want to forget about my interviewing past was interviewing the monster among men, Braun Strowman. Now, the interview went great. He was such a nice guy. Not at all like his character on TV, which I was kind of disappointed about. I wanted to be like, I'm not finished with you.
So we can't wait to play as you on 2K18 this year.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much. He's huge.
But he was an absolute gent, and as we saw him coming towards us on the red carpet, you get like 2 questions each. Every WWE superstar has like a person from WWE that stands with them and makes sure the interview's going alright and stuff. They always wear a suit, they look very smartly dressed. This guy was saying to everyone before Braun came up to them, 2 questions max. You're not going to ask any more questions than 2. This guy's got a tight schedule. He needs to get out of here. 2 questions max. And I was like, yeah, cool. Can we have him next? So picture this. Braun Strowman is next in line. We're going to get him. He's finishing up the interview that he's doing with the media outlet next to us.
Thank you, sir.
And all of a sudden, I turn around to the camera guy that's filming for me. And my contact lens, I wear lenses, went behind my eye. It was like, this never happens. Why is it happening now? The camera guy's like, I'm not finished with you. Myles, what are you doing? Braun Strowman, he's ready for you now. He stood behind you. I can't see. Where's my lens gone?
He's gonna work through it, do his best.
I get the lens back in. Finally, I can see. I've got like tears rolling down my face because I've been playing with my eyes so much. I turn around, Braun's gone. I've just lost one of the guys in the main event of SummerSlam, and he barely ever does interviews. Luckily, the guy that was chaperoning Braun Strowman looked back and he saw what had happened and he was like, hey, don't worry about it, I got you. We'll get him back. And I managed to interview the monster among men, but just like the worst 30 seconds of my life. Another first timer for me was Samoa Joe. Never interviewed him before, never met the guy. Really nice dude.
They've treated me well.
I will say, for those of you that have no idea what it must be like to interview your favorite WWE superstars, you can rehearse all the questions you want, but you just never know where the interview's gonna go.
Honestly, anything can probably happen.
Because if you just kept sticking to a script, it just wouldn't flow naturally. For instance, this Samoa Joe interview, he started talking about Brock Lesnar and what Brock's future plans might be. Obviously, contract talks are up in the air.
Brock is he's an unusual individual in that, you know, he likes to keep his plans tight to his chest.
Well, I just threw in a question about maybe Joe perhaps following him to the UFC or to MMA.
Are your options open as well?
My feet are firmly planted here.
That was a prime example of a question where I know exactly what Joe's going to say. He's obviously going to tell me that his feet are firmly planted in WWE. He wants to win all the gold he can. You know, he's only just recently made a move up to the WWE on the main roster. He's not going to go to MMA anytime soon, or even later on in life. But had Joe turned around to me and said, Myles, you know what? This is the first person I'm saying this to, but I really want to make a move to MMA, to the UFC, and I'm going to be bigger and better and badder than Brock Lesnar will ever be inside the octagon. That would have been huge. You know, you've just got to throw a bone. Sometimes they catch it, and sometimes they give you an incredible response. That means that's me separating myself from the rest of the red carpet and putting a different spin on things and getting the scoop, as we say in the biz. Here's the Dean Ambrose interview.
Roman Reigns, has he been consulted about this? I mean, have you spoken
I'm
to him
not
backstage?
speaking to Roman right now.
Why?
I haven't spoken to him about 3 weeks.
For a third of the Shield to come out with that before he tags with Rollins for the WWE Tag Team Championships, that's really what gets me going when I'm interviewing these guys. I'm like, I can't believe you've just said that, but you're saying it to me. This is amazing. Which leads me to a little bit of a disappointing interview, if I'm honest. I was really looking forward to my second time in front of the camera with Alexa Bliss, who's defending her WWE Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam that weekend.
Oh, amazing.
The interview just didn't really go anywhere. I mean, she was very pleasant. She was really nice.
Very humbled by like the opportunities that I've been given by WWE. It's been such an amazing journey, and I'm so happy with where I'm at.
I don't know if she wasn't feeling it or she just done so many interviews, it kind of got her towards the end of the night. She was kind of over it.
Can't wait to play as you in the game and retain that championship.
No, there's no way I'm pointing the finger at Alexa Bliss. She's an absolute sweetheart. She's my favorite female superstar on the roster right now. She'd probably done loads of interviews already. It was the end of her night. She just kind of wanted to get an early night ahead of a big weekend in the ring. But there was one question I asked about Nia Jax perhaps coming for that WWE Championship.
Is there a bit of jealousy starting to creep in from Nia Jax? I know you're on the same page right now. You seem to be best of friends backstage. I just don't know how long that's going to last.
It's annoying it didn't happen that weekend during SummerSlam, because then I would have felt like, hey, I called it. Yes.
You know what? Let me down. Let me down.
I think I managed to get 11 interviews in total that night, but there was a few that I did miss because it's so busy and you've got like people that are in interviews, so they'll just skip that person and go to the next. You do miss out on a lot of talent. Jinder Mahal was one that I was really let down I didn't get. Bailey as well, not so much because I've interviewed her a couple of times and she was injured and she wasn't really doing anything that weekend. And another one was the Fashion Police, but I think they were just doing a load of stuff for the Up Up Down Down YouTube channel, and they were actually just doing interviews themselves at the end of the red carpet. But there was someone that I couldn't miss out on getting that night, and that is Hall of Famer and WWE Raw General Manager Kurt Angle.
Kurt, pleasure to meet you. My name is Myles.
I had to ask him questions about when he's coming back to the ring, who he's going to face.
Well, you can talk to Vince McMahon about that.
And that was great. And as you can see, the interview in length is only 1 minute and 42 seconds, and that's with my annoying little subscribe here bit at the end. So in these situations, you've really got to be ready for who's coming next. You've got to know who you're talking to.
I'm not taking on Randy Orton.
And last but not least, don't completely fanboy when talking to Seth Rollins, no matter how much you love him.
I have waited a lifetime to meet you.
A lifetime?
Yeah.
You haven't even known I existed for a lifetime. That's
My
fine.
favorite ever moment in WWE, I mean ever, I've been a fan since I was 12,
Yeah.
was you cashing in the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania.
Well, thank you very much. That makes two of us.
Just don't do this.
Me and my little brother, we're a big fan of the product and we're a big fan of yours, and when you cashed in, like that, it really brought us like quite close together.
I probably shouldn't have. What I will say is, if you ever get the chance to do a WWE interview and you get there 3 hours too early and there's free drinks flowing all night,
We are the bar. Yeah.
don't do it. I hope you enjoyed that little insight of what it's like being under the bright lights, in front of a camera, holding a microphone, trying to hold it together with some of the biggest names in WWE today. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you comment as well. I want to know who you think I should interview in the future and what kind of questions I should ask them. And also subscribe as well. I'm going to be doing a reaction to the WWE Raw pay-per-view coming up in a few weeks. No mercy. Can't wait to see what's going to happen with that Roman Reigns-John Cena feud.